It's time we all remember how pissed off we were about the New Year's letter from the Square Enix CEO. I had pretty much forgotten about it. I had pretty much gotten to a point where I was like, oh, well, like my brain pushed it way, way back in like the dusty corners. And cobwebs grow in there, and I'm like, oh, it's fine. No, it's not fine. It's not fine. It's not fine at all. So we're going to talk about what has happened in our world of gaming here, Square Enix. 1 minute. Yeah, so I don't know if you heard the news. Let me open this up. God, I can't believe we have to still deal with this shit, but I have a bad feeling it's not going away, friends. So, Square Enix has sold Tomb Raider, sold the Western IPs, sold Legacy of Kain, Thief, and others for $300 million to invest in blockchain. Now, how do we know this? Let me show you. So here's the official message from Embracer Group. They're the ones who bought all these things. And so Embracer Group has entered into an agreement to acquire Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal, and a catalog of IPs, including Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain, and more than 50 back catalog games from Square Enix. So this includes 1,100 employees to the tune of $300 million. And this part is actually not bad. Obviously we have no idea what will happen to these IPs. Okay. But, I mean, some of these IPs have been more or less collecting dust with Square Enix. Legacy of Kain, Thief, and some others. They're not doing anything. So if Embracer can revitalize these titles, that's very good. We should be happy about that. And it seems clear from that this is what they want to do. In this, they say, oh yeah, we're going to invest money into all these things that Square Enix wasn't. So that's good. They also said that they believe that there will be an increasingly strong demand for high quality content, including AAA single player games over the decade. Our approach is that quality comes first in games development. So that's why we want to empower our management teams for long-term success. So all that sounds good, but of course, it's a press release. It's supposed to sound good. We don't know how things will actually go, but it's promising. Okay, they could have said, we can't wait to turn all these IPs into mobile titles and build slot machines. Okay, they didn't say that, so this is tentatively the good part. We got to have some good news in this story, because the other part of the story is the stated purpose of the transaction by Square Enix. So they tweeted this out, and they said that the purpose of the transaction is to assist the company in establishing a more efficient allocation of resources to enhance corporate value by accelerating growth, which honestly, nowadays, it means exponential growth. This is what every game company wants nowadays. They want exponential growth. The transaction enables the launch of new businesses by moving forward with investments in fields including blockchain, AI, and the cloud. So here we are. Here we are yet again worrying about NFTs and blockchain bullshit getting into our games. And basically, we originally got worried about this, like I said, in the New Year's letter from the producer from Square Enix. And it's worth looking back on this now. Okay. Hold on one sec. So, this was what he posted January 1st, 2022. Letter from the president. Sorry, I misspoke. The metaverse is so basically mostly nonsense buzzwords mixed in with it's just filth, okay? It's just corporate filth and greed on here. The metaverse will likely see a meaningful transition to a business phase in 2022, with a wide range of services appearing on the scene. I see 2021 not only as Metaverse Year 1, but also as NFTs Year 1. The advent of NFTs using blockchain technology significantly increased the liquidity of digital goods, enabling the trading of a variety of such goods at high prices. So, basically, they saw the dollar signs. They saw an opportunity to cash in on this pyramid scheme on NFTs, which are really, they're nothing. They're a receipt. It's not even a copyright. It is an ownership system with absolutely no enforcement. And it is contributing to the acceleration of the climate crisis, which we are already balls deep in. So that's what we really need right now. I should probably go over how NFTs work for people who feel like the NFT hype is over already. Not for CEOs. Though you could be right, because I remember that person who bought, well, I don't think it's over because it's a pyramid scheme. And those people still do not learn their lessons about this shit. But I do remember somebody who bought that tweet, Jack Dorsey's first tweet. Yeah. For $48 million, and then it ended with a top bid of $280. So that was a really solid investment. Yeah, that was a really smart and good idea for him to do that. But I guess anytime I talk about this, I feel like I have to explain to people who don't know what it is, and why it's a problem. So the blockchain technology is a public ledger of all transactions, basically. And to keep that ledger intact and verifiable, there are computers running at maximum power 24/7, like massive amount of computers taking massive amounts of energy to do this, because it is inefficient by design. It has to be inefficient by design. It has to take a buttload of power to mine the currency on the blockchain so that the currency has any kind of value. And basically, an NFT it has its own digital signature on the blockchain. It's like a little sticky note on it, a little receipt on it saying that it's yours. I actually saw a pretty funny, I saw a pretty funny explanation of NFTs. Let me see if I can remember it. All right, so basically, I heard someone say NFT. It's like, imagine that you're married and your wife is getting railed by every guy in town all day, every day. But you have the marriage certificate. That's your NFT. It's horrible. It's horrible. Okay. Obviously, women aren't objects, but it was hilarious. It's funny. Okay, so anyways, as for the environmental cost, so obviously, massive amounts of computers running at maximum power, 24 hours a day, every day, costs a lot of electricity. This electricity doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes out of power plants. They are consuming fossil fuels, and it's massively accelerating the environmental crisis. Okay. I think I heard that it takes 12 years to offset the mining of a single NFT. And here's the sale of a piece of crypto art consumed as much energy as the studio uses in 2 years. That's from this article right here. Yeah. Yeah. So, really smart, really good idea right now. I think also the whole Ethereum blockchain network consumes 33 terawatt hours, but I checked that like months ago, so it could be more than that by now. Anyway, it's a lot, and there's a buttload of electricity that goes into one transaction. One transaction, I think, uses the equivalent power of an average household would use in a day and a half. But the NFT involves the minting, bidding, selling, and transfer of the token. So basically, it's stupid. It's pointless. It doesn't mean owning a copyright. It's a speculative market. It's a pyramid scheme. And there are suckers who want to cash. Well, there's suckers who are falling for it. And then there are predatory people, CEOs, who want to cash in on it. So back to our letter from the president. In this disgusting, horrible way to start our new year, which was, I mean, it did set the tone for the year, frankly. This was a pretty shitty way to start a pretty shitty year so far, to be real with you. I think it was appropriate for the start of 2022. He said that, he talked about blockchain games in here. He said blockchain games have the potential for self-sustaining game growth. The driver that most enables the self-sustaining game growth is diversity, both in how people engage with interactive content like games and their motivations for doing so. Here we go. Advances in token economies will likely add further momentum to this trend of diversification. I see the play-to-earn concept that has people so excited as a prime example of this. I realize that some people who play to have fun and who currently form the majority of players have voiced their reservations towards these new trends. And understandably so. However, I believe that there will be a certain number of people whose motivation is to play to contribute, by which I mean to help make the game more exciting. For me, right, as CEO. Traditional gaming has offered no explicit incentive to this latter group of people who are motivated strictly by such inconsistent personal feelings as goodwill and volunteer spirit. Inconsistent personal feelings like goodwill. Yeah. So I got so mad about this when I saw it the first time. I'm even madder this time that we're back to it. But they said it all. They laid it all out exactly how they feel. They want you to work. They want to monetize all of your time. They notice that you have some downtime where you're just enjoying yourself and you're not constantly profiting, making profits for the company because you're just relaxing playing a video game. Why should you have escapism? Why should you have any time to yourself where you're not directly benefiting the machine and enriching CEOs when that time can be monetized as well? Wouldn't that be more consistent reason for people to play? If they, oh God. It's also incredibly shitty. And I think I said this before, but it's incredibly shitty how he set up this dichotomy between people who play to enjoy themselves and people who play to contribute, implying that people who play to have fun are not contributing enough. They're not doing enough. People out here busting their asses, like building, like making content, creating events, organizing communities, like shouting from the rooftops about how much they love your game. That's not enough. That's not enough. It is about domination of people. Will we see Square Enix turn into Shinryu Corp? Well, I actually saw something extremely rare today. I saw the rarest thing I've ever seen, which is a good post on the official forums. And I'm going to read it because I can't believe, I genuinely could not believe that I read a good post on the official forums. So this person, little arrow, they wrote this. Crap. Very concerned for the future of FXV and Square Enix. Now, usually there are a million threads like this on the official forums all the time, and they're usually complete trash. They're usually garbage, okay? Because it's usually something like, well, because there's not nipples on them boys. It's usually something like that. So I was surprised to open this up and actually see like good take here. Starting us off, I want to say this is based off an industry rumor. There seems to be some pretty sound evidence this rumor could very well come to fruition soon. And I checked this out. That is right. I Googled, will Sony buy Square Enix? And it turns out there is indeed a fairly prevalent rumor right now. Sony buying Square Enix was a big acquisition rumor, apparently. Here's another article saying, oh, it says no. They say I can't. So I can't look at that one. PlayStation buying Square Enix is the big rumor, but will it really happen? This is from May 3rd. It's from yesterday. Here we see PlayStation Lifestyle. Apparently, Sony buying Square Enix is still a possibility. So this is, I think, valid fears to have right now, considering how prevalent this rumor is and being talked about in articles all over the place right now. This has me on edge for many reasons. Mainly, what happened to WoW after Activision acquired it. I was there 3,000 years ago. I'll never forget, because it did feel, it was obvious when the change happened. So, obviously, I'm worried about that too. Sony isn't Activision, but we'll get to that in a minute. I stopped playing WoW at the end of Wrath of the Lich King, so please forgive my ignorance as to the full state of the game now. But from understanding, it's a microtransaction mess with kill purchasing and an extensive pay-to-win system in place for purchasing gold. Yeah, WoW token. We talk about this all the time and how much it sucks. This is what I'm so afraid of happening in 14. As many veteran and new players have noticed, 14 has been in an incredibly special bubble that has preserved a way of gaming not seen in decades. Sure, there are cosmetics, and we don't like that. But for the most part, Yoshi P has been able to keep 14 free from extensive microtransactions. What happens when or if Sony purchases Square Enix? Now, yes, it is true that Yoshi P has said, no, I will not get this crap in our game. He said NFTs are not coming to Final Fantasy XIV. He said this in the past. He said that 2 months ago, but he's just one guy. Yeah, he's gonna hold the line. He's gonna be Armin Filia holding the flood back. But can he really withstand it? Will he really be able to stop it, right? Even if not, having this crap in your games, it's awful. Even if it doesn't make it to Final Fantasy XIV, having it in any games under Square Enix would be catastrophic. So, let's not all kid ourselves either in thinking this wouldn't happen. They've already sold Crystal Dynamics, among other studios, had multiple poorly performing games, and the golden goose egg that is 14 has been very publicly praised within the last year. My personal expression is this to the developers and Yoshi. I've played your game since I was a child. 14 represents a very special place in the market of games and MMOs. It does. It really does. Please do not allow corporate greed to taint this secret garden we are all enjoying. Please remember what happens to products that fall into the gutter of profits over quality. And that is what we are racing towards. That is exactly what this New Year's letter was all about. It was about not looking at a video game as an artistic outlet, as an expression of like story and beauty and music, but as a product, an investment that you can make. You need to only care about making the exponential profits off of. And obviously that's not sustainable. What these shareholders do is they just swoop in like vultures and they squeeze it till it's completely dry, and then they move on to the next one. So we have been with you since the launch, supported you through the failure, and cheered you all on during the success. Please do not disregard or forget us for Sony's profits. Yoshi P will not. Yoshi P absolutely will not. Just an additional thought I posted below. Now, Little Arrow added saying, I'm not completely doom and glooming. I know Sony is far better than many of the other major publishers out there, though lately there has been some anti-consumer stuff that they have been doing, which we don't need to go into detail about. But they're not as... Then, I don't know. It's hard for me to say they're not as bad because I spent so many years believing that old Blizzard was like amazing and all of his old devs were perfect and flawless, and then later I found out that it wasn't like that, so you really don't know. But it's not publicly as horrible. But I'm still very concerned to see this go in a bad way. I know Yoshi is on the board of directors at Square Enix, and I honestly believe that's why 14 has been spared the horrific MMO gaming trends that's killed so many franchises and games in the past decade. For me, I often say my worst nightmare for Final Fantasy 14 would be for there to be like something like WoW token added to the game. But I think that they're like, now I have a new worst nightmare where that would be the preferable option. With that, where we'll look back on the time when there was microtransactions and think, wow, I miss when things were like that. Because one of the ways that they can make exponential money off of NFTs in games is by basically, instead of selling you a mount and you buy it and that's it, right? You say, they put a new mount on the MOG station, you buy it, that's it, right? Well, if they make, let's say they release a mount and they release like one of it and it's an NFT and you buy it, well, that's only yours, and then you can sell it to other people and they can sell it to other people, and every time you sell it, the company gets a cut. So they sell it one time and then they get a cut forever and ever and ever and ever. Every time that NFT is sold, they get a cut with every transaction. So they don't really care if it doesn't actually have value, because they get the money from the first sale, and then they'll always get a cut. So they can create this artificial scarcity using the NFTs. They can make the exponential profits, and it's just a bullshit predatory money-making tactic. That's all it is. That is all it is. And as for Sony is balls deep in NFTs. Sony loves NFTs. All you have to do is Google Sony NFTs and you'll see a million different NFT stuff that Sony's into. So rest assured that if, well, basically, let me see if I can find it. Universal and Sony spent $550 million buying Bob Dylan's music rights. Now they're making NFTs with him. That's just the first thing that came up. But there's so many. There's so many like that. So it feels like we are speeding towards a really nasty outcome for games, for players, for the environment. And all I can do is sit here and yell about it pretty much and tell people about it and pray that Yoshi P can hold the line as long as possible.